This is a Headgum podcast.
Lil Rel.
We can discuss, give me your truth, it never fails.
Purpose, like you have this smooth, like everything's beautiful. Hey, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's who I am, right? But I really be just wanting people to feel seen in the moment. You know, right now it's just about you, and that's the point, right? A lot of people get missed in their day, and I want to be intentional with seeing people and making you feel like, oh, she paid attention to me.
Like, cause this is the thing about it. Like right now, I look at how much you're winning, and it's just you being yourself, right? When you first came out here to LA, did you feel like you had to do a different version of yourself?
Oh yeah, ooh, Tab on this tab, right? Because I want free, right? This is me being free. Before, I was trying to do whatever I saw everybody else doing because I thought that was what was going to open the door for me. I've been out here 18 years, right?
In LA?
In LA.
Wow.
And for the first, good 12 to, 13 years, I was just out here trying to fit in and trying to be what I saw on TV, right? I wore my hair straight all the time because I was told to. I always cover my accent. I was always trying to be a size 2, 4. Honey, that was cute though, okay? She was cute, but she wasn't free. And it didn't work for me. I mean, I had a lot of small victories, and I did all right. Nobody knew who I was because I was trying to fit in. And the moment that I said, you know what, I just want to be who God created me to be. I don't want to be nobody else, just Tab. And I started taking those layers off. That's when my life changed.
When did you have that moment? Was it? Because I tell people this all the time because I've had that. I think like when I first started comedy, I was doing it a certain way, and I was just doing jokes. And then I was challenged by my roommates who were 2 other comedians. Like, all right, dude, you keep talking about your family. Why you don't do none of this stuff on stage? You like telling us all these stories all the time. And I just remember having a moment where I didn't want to be like nobody else. It's like, all right, man, if I'm going to lose, it's going to be what this is. And when did you have that moment?
I had that moment from a dark place, right? Which is why I always share it, because I always tell people, use me. Don't wait till you get all the way down to the dark before you realize that you want to be free. I got sick, right? I got sick in 2016 and really didn't think I was going to live to see 40. And I was sick for like a year and a half and couldn't get well. And doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. It's like my body was just attacking itself. And I really thought God forgot about me. And I'm from the South. I grew up in the church. My mama was a pastor. I've always been a woman of faith. But I really had a moment where I felt like, I don't know, if the faith is enough in this moment because I don't think he see me or hear me. And so I had what I call my last, final call out to him. I was like, I'm going to try one more time to really talk to God and see if he hears me. And I got in the mirror, and I just really was in search of, seeing my soul. And they say the only way you can do that is through your eyes. And so I got in the mirror, and I was just like, God, if you heal me, you can have me. And I meant it. And I wasn't going to try to live my life my way no more. I was simply going to live it the way he created me to live it. And when I left the bathroom that day, I felt a shift inside of me. I wasn't healed yet, but I just felt different. And from that day on, I just started taking layers off. And I was like, well, this ain't the true you. You can't do that no more. And it was scary, right? Every day, I'm still taking layers off. It's been 5 years that I chose freedom. And I chose to give God my life. And ever since then, my life has changed, though, for the better.
The cold plunge is a metaphor, right? The cold plunge is a metaphor for exactly what you asked me earlier, which was your question of going into that feeling. Why the hell would I want to jump into an ice cold bucket of water? That's crazy. That's not fun. It's it's damn near psychopathic. It's terrible. I have a sauna. Okay, I'll be in the sauna for a few minutes, but I don't want to get into the cold. But that is how we're trained to also look at life. There's so many things that we are told to run away from. So the cold, for me, by the way, I have not gotten in it recently. I will admit that. The last 3 or 4 months, I have not been mentally strong enough to get in. I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna let that. I'm just gonna let that go, because and I know where I am emotionally based on, am I willing to sit in the cold? Can I sit in cold for 2-3 minutes and not get out? And oftentimes, once I'm in it, it's not the problem. It's getting in it. It's having it's having the conversation that we don't want to have. It's going into the discomfort. It's admitting something. It's admitting you failed in front of your whole team or your company or a movie set, whatever that is. That's the cold plunge. That's what it represents for me.
Wow.
So that's why we have it.
Let me tell you something. I love that. And I just want to rewind something back real quick. You know, you're talking about your children and just how free they are, how free they feel. That is an applause to you and your wife. You know, like, I think a lot of, I always say this, I feel like this generation of children growing up in general they're just freer. Like, I have my son on one of the episodes we just did, and I just loved hearing him talk.
Oh,
He just sounds like a free, smart kid that can have all these thoughts and this and that. And to me, that's like, I don't know, it felt like an applause to me and his mom. Like, all right, this kid, he can just think how he want to. And that's dope to me. Like, oh, wow, you have all these ideas and you do. Like, you're comfortable in your own skin. And that's just a beautiful thing, because it's like, I think about how many times I wasn't. And it took me almost, till I'm 40 to be like, oh, I'm finally comfortable in my own skin. Like, when you meet a person that's comfortable, it's wild, but it's become beautiful to me too. Like, I can't even, it's so funny. It is wild, but I don't even have time to complain about it.
yeah.
It's
That's true.
like, I got here. Fuck
You
it.
got here.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I know so many people that still haven't got there. Like, I'm literally chilling in that. Like, we went out to dinner last night, me and my kids and my girlfriend and her daughters. And it's just that moment of, like, just sitting at the head of the table. It's kind of old school, but just watching everybody be happy. I was like, that's nice. The kids are happy. They're having conversations. They're laughing. Okay. Cool. That's what it's all about.
It is.
I'm chilling.
So
Give me a cappuccino.
Those are the moments.
you have 2 girls, or
I have a little boy who's 4.5.
you have a little boy? Okay.
And a almost 7-year-old daughter. Yeah.
So being a girl dad, how did that change your outlook on parenthood and feminism?
You with the deep questions, man. I love it.
So I do.
It's something that frustrates so many women when men say having a daughter changed me, because we shouldn't have to have daughters to change. But having a daughter absolutely also did change me, and I have to admit that. Granted, I was on this course before. One of the principles in the Baha'i faith is the equality of the sexes. Right? We're told in the Baha'i writings that humanity can be likened to a bird. On one wing is male and the other wing is female, but it's not until the wings are equivalent in strength that the bird can fly. And so I grew up with this, and then I married my wife and learned so much about women and feminism that I hadn't thought of. And then I had a daughter, and it was the first time that I saw the world as a threat.
Wow.
And I wish that it didn't take that. I wish it didn't take me bringing a child into this world. And honestly, there's even if I had had a boy first, I still would have seen the world for the first time as a threat. Because when you have a child, everything can kill them, right? And you start to realize just how temporary this life is, and how fragile and delicate it is. But with a daughter specifically, I just remember looking out and being like, man, I'm too late. The fact that I want to protect my daughter. I want her to grow up in a world where she doesn't need protecting from boys, where, like, that's not a sign of masculinity, that a boy has to grow up to be a man to protect women. What are we protecting them from? We're protecting them from other men.
I was just talking about you to a couple of people that we friends with. I'm like, outside of you being the happiest I've ever seen you, you are so centered. Like, what made that change happen?
People says different things. For a long time, we we are kings of our own chaos. Everything wrong in my life was something that I had lit the fuse to. Every bomb that went off was something I definitely had something to do with. If I was having crazy woman problems, I'm the one sitting there telling this woman I love her, and then realize you don't. You keep the facade up in certain instances. Or we're traveling and sharing ourselves with so many different people and giving so much of ourselves away that you don't have nothing left for yourself. Now you're upset and you're angry. But I lit these fuses when I just don't have to light the fuses. I don't have to. Me and my mother would go back and forth, always about money, and this is just funny. My mother's just hilarious. So. I hate I'm even saying this on your podcast, but you know me, Rel. So it's like, okay, so they have people's net worths, celebrity net worths on the internet. You just look it up. It's just whatever people want to guess what it is. I think it's hilarious. But mine has been 1.5 million for the last 20-some years. And I was like, and sometimes I look at it and I go, I could be Deray and be like, that ain't right there. I mean, that. Yeah. But I say no, because of how my family is. I just kept it how it was. And I'm thinking, that's cool, man. My mama called me one day. She said, my friend's talking about, I'm asking you for some money. And my friend's talking about, why your son can't give it to you. He worth 1.5 million. And the way she said it, like it was big, I was like, man, you can't. I would dare not ever tell you how much money I really got. And it's just how we see things. So I think that, so my friend, Trey. Yeah. Trey, friend, family, like, every month, he was like, it's like you wait on your mama to ask you for money. It's like you want her to ask you because you want to still be mad about some from before. So you want to control that part of it. Can't wait till she hit me about this money. Waiting on it. When you got you're in the kind of situation, well, why don't you just send it? Just put up a amount and just send it to your mama. And I was like, man. So I started doing that. Like, just start sending it. And not saying my mother's she's not money hungry. She's not like that. My mom just like things taken care of. She feel like, she raised this boy gonna take care of her back. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I can understand. That's what I always want to do anyway. Right. But just not forced into it. I don't want to get beaten to it. But so I just started doing that, and our relationship just changed because I decided to just take a step ahead of what I thought what the problem was going to be. I decided instead of lighting that fuse and watching that explode and go bad for me, just in come. I'm not saying she don't be needing extra stuff still, like she'll still ask, but it's a lot lighter. Right. If we get ahead of things that we think are going to, affect us some kind of way, or we do it with everything else. Yep. Love, emotions, and things. That's the only thing we can't buy insurance for. Anything else in the world, you can watch all this farmers insurance, any insurance, don't nobody say if that girl break your heart, nobody care who right, who wrong when it come down to it. When it come down to if you have a child by a woman, she could be a horrible person. They gonna say you made that decision. Yeah. And they not gonna give you no insurance. Like, oh man, that was you should have pulled out insurance. None of that. or if a woman breaks your heart in the midst of so I just believe in preparing mentally to some point for those things. We worry about other things. We do it for cars. We do it for our house. You should do it for your emotions. Find a place where you can insure yourself. And I think that had a lot to do with it. And the weed, Rel, definitely had something to do with it.
That's what I was waiting on. I was waiting on you to say the weed.
I was trying to not give it full credit. Marijuana definitely played a part in centering myself. And I've always loved watching people win, but I never sat and watched the games be played and enjoyed it like that too. So like Rel win, if people win, we always shout each other out. It's just what the fuck we do. We don't. I mean, if you really good, you like doing that anyway. It's like LeBron, the nigga sit down during the playoffs and he's still tweeting like, "Woo, that boy bad." That's what you're supposed to say. Yeah. Because you good, you good. You weird to sit there and say that part should have been mine. There's some roles that I'm glad I didn't get. And I don't want to talk about the movie now because I would down that actor. But sometimes I was upset that next day and I saw the movie. I'm like, oh shit, that saved my life with this motherfucker. Your jealousy should be only rooted in happiness. Your jealousy should only be rooted in drive. It should drive you to something. Your jealousy shouldn't be that of which, damn, I wish I had that. But it should be more, damn, I tell Rel all the time, I'm jealous, nigga. And I tried to do it to Afion the other day, but Afion, the Trinity, he a grown man. So he didn't know what I was saying. He's like, no, we're not jealous, brother. I'm like, man, I'm saying it's the uses of the word. It's not, I'm not saying this, I'm not gonna get no trouble. It's like the uses of any other word, like the uses of the word bitch. You with your girl and you really having sexy conversation like you a bad bitch, you know what I'm saying? She's in that, and which we do around the house all the time. But she know when you walk away and you like, bitch, she like the tone of it. So I think it has a lot to do with just that and transfer. Bottom line is transference of energy from the super negative to the to trying to figure out how do I cheer on my brothers? How do I find a good place no matter what? Now I sit and get to watch the games, even though I'm still playing. I'm still playing. I'm on a whole nother squad, and we got a dope ass team everybody trying to get to the championship.
Yeah.
So I center myself in that and happiness for other people. Look at my brother winning. Never one-sided in situations. I hate that. We don't have enough people fighting for our innocent to proven guilty. It's like it don't even exist on the internet. It's like it don't even exist.
Yeah.
It's straight
And
guilty.
we need more of that. We need more fighting. I've always fought for us, dog. I'm going to fight all the comedians sitting at home. If you got an extra $3 from the Improv about 4 years ago, that was me. In there arguing and why y'all charging a service charge on cash when the service charge is supposed to be for the credit cards. That's my goal. That's what I'm here for. I'm here so we can have a guild. So when you see your meme, you don't be like, yo, that's my comic view joke. It pops up somewhere. It's a guild. You wrote that. Because I bet you if I say a Jay-Z line right now, I'm going to have to pay that.
You're going to pay for it.
That's
So
crazy.
you just have to pay for my joke. And then if we have to go back and forth and see who originated 82, we could take that to the... That could be some computer. That could be some digging in the archive shit. We can figure it out. And it could even be fun in finding out who first did do the joke. I would love to know who made up these knock jokes for real and not just that it's a stock joke because that belonged to somebody. That was
You find
somebody's
out
thought.
it's Michael Collier that started
All of it.
started knock
He's
jokes.
Michael Collier's
Any material, any stock jokes. It was Michael Cow. That joke. That boy, yeah.
But you know what's crazy, D-Ray? Like, you somebody I extremely learned from. And I think, I actually brag about this about you all the time, about being in Chicago, and especially when I first started. The way promoters end up being promoters in Chicago, the way they did everything, it was based off your format of it.
Yeah.
We talking about it's a guy named Leroy that passed out flyers.
flyer man.
You was the first person to hire Leroy?
No, I found Leroy passing out flyers, but he was I just always thought a promotion was an art form. I remember the first time I got handed flyers, it was for Damon Williams' House of Blues show. And he hands me these flyers. And I had been doing comedy, and that was January, so I hadn't been doing it too long. I started probably Mother's Day that May before that. And he told me, help me promote, I'll let you do 5 minutes kind of thing. I think that was the trade-off. And he handed me the flyers. And as soon as I smelled them, my life changed. It was the paper, the wood, the gloss. I could smell it. And in my hands, I started doing the math because I worked with other things that were of blocks back in the day, and it felt the same. It felt like dope. And I said, for each one of these motherfuckers, I'm gonna give. It's worth $10 after I started promoting myself. So then I will watch. I loved music. I made music all the time. I always rap, so I always watched the rap format of things, of how Ja Rule at the time was promoting, how Irv was promoting, how Jigga was promoting, Dipset. And I looked at their flyers and was like, I want to promote like a rapper.
Yeah.
My sticker's gonna be everywhere. My name gonna be everywhere. So when I first started, I got 10,000 flyers that just said D-Ray. Nothing else. Comedian on the back. There was no MySpace, none of that shit. And threw them everywhere. Just my name, just annoying motherfuckers. The fuck is a D-Ray? Then I put hosted by D-Ray at my show, and people was like, I think I know that guy. Because they saw the name somewhere else and didn't even realize they saw the name.
That's crazy.
The best flyer to me is the one on the ground. People get upset about, I throw my flyer on the ground. Me and my friend used to promote me and my friend Larry, and somebody throw it on the ground. But people look down all the time. They don't want to trip over shit. They're going to see it and make sure my name is big. I made sure, I don't want to tell all my secrets. I made sure, but it's the way I would format the flyer to be eye-catching. Like if I was going to a movie or if I walked past it, what would make me keep this flyer? What makes me even want to touch it and see it? So I did extra glossy, double-sided. Then I started doing the ones that fold, and I just wanted. I was close to doing pop-outs, the pull-outs, but I was like, it costed so much for the time. The cost didn't match. Doing the P&L in my mind, it just didn't make sense. But promotions was number one. I first went on stage at TNT Comedy Hook. And I remember standing there after my uncle told me don't go or whatever. He's like, he didn't know I knew I was going to be good. Nobody fucking knew. So I come over, he's just standing there, and this guy, my uncle's standing there, this guy just walks up to me. He's like, wow, this white guy's like, you really want to do this, huh? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I want to do this for real, like this. And he said, yeah, man, you're good at comedy. And I was like, oh, no. Fuck that. And I pointed at Tassi, who was at the door, taking all the money. I said, I want to do that.
This guy is crazy.
But dudes, but dudes, you have to understand something. Dudes deal with ego. We got ego problems. We all got our issues. And I just don't want to do that right now. Plus, I got a little one too. And my whole focus is on him. You know, on maturing him at 4 years old.
Do you get along with your ex-wife?
Who? But my ex-wife doesn't have my child.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you had to communicate and spend time with somebody at some point.
I did.
When you wanted to.
And I had no problem with it. I said I had a good 9-year run, nothing wrong with it. It just didn't last, which is great, which is cool because that's part of life. Just because two people get together doesn't mean it's meant to be. Or when you break apart, it's his fault or her fault. Maybe sometimes you grow apart and you've learned something during that time together, which I did. And I would cherish that.
Is it easier not having a kid and then getting divorced? Like,
Yeah.
y'all just go about your business like, all right, well,
Well, I mean, you
rest of
still
your
have
life.
mutual feelings or whatever towards somebody because you were with them.
Yeah.
But it makes the separation a lot easier because you don't have a child that's involved. Now, a lot of people also use a child as a way to stay together when they're not happy, which I don't think is, to me, is healthy for the child because the child can feel the energy or the lack of energy, lack of love with two people that are just trying to stay together for the kids.
Yeah, that's always, I think people don't realize how much that affect the kids when you try to force a situation like that.
Kids are smart.
They're smart and they take in energy right away,
Yes.
right? Like when you become older, you kind of could play with that a little bit. When you're a kid, I remember I was sitting down, I was sitting kind of sad yesterday because one of my friends got shot recently. And so I was just sad, and my youngest, he was just looking at me, and then he just grabbed my hand. I ain't say nothing.
He felt it,
He
right?
just could see that I was like, whatever I was going through in my head.
I'm noticing a trend here. This is all Atlanta versus Chicago.
Yeah, you see it.
So,
see it. So this next one is tough, man.
Okay.
Andre 3000
I knew this was. I was Outkast or what?
or Kanye West.
Oh, Andre, hands down. I mean, I went to school with a goody mom.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, here's a funny story about being valedictorian. So I'm valedictorian. I go to a good college. I come out. I'm a PA on the Paramount lot. I'm literally carrying coffees one day across the lot, and a golf cart pulls up, and it's the Goody Mom because they were doing like a cameo on somebody's show. And CeeLo was like, "Hey man, it's Diallo Riddle. This nigga was the valedictorian."
Wow.
And I'm standing there with coffees like, "I love y'all. I'm so happy for y'all's success. Let me go get these coffees over here before they get cold." That was a dark day. But I was happy to see him. I was legit happy to see him, even though they were clapping.
Hey, that's a valedictorian,
This nigga was a valedictorian.
Carrying the coffee. But hey, that's how I go, man.
But D, let me say this.
I got
though.
so much. This story is crazy.
But this is so. We've talked about this before. This is the first time I've heard you take ownership in what you could have did wrong. I remember the first time I heard it, I just thought she was a terrible person. Right?
Wow.
Because
So that must have been past
Because
3 years ago.
you make it seem like that's how much I love comedy. That I was willing to do that. And that people nowadays don't argue so much with that tone of it because people have passion and have dreams and have the same thing. So they're like, that's what I would have did. That's what I could feel that. When they like, but for men and me telling this story is different than the compassion we show when a girl's like, yeah, I had to go strip, so my son had to sleep in the car. It's like, she did what she had to do. But if I say, yo, I wouldn't be where I'm at if I wouldn't have took certain steps, and whatever the steps, whether they've been the best or worst, got me here. If I start playing Jenga with my past, I don't know at what point it's going to be the one that topples it over. So there's also the growth and the just within myself and how it makes me feel, more than it is about anything else. But I was in love with comedy more than I was in love with anything else or anyone else. That's all I had. I mean,
that's the selfishness of it. It's a really selfish dream, especially in the beginning.
Yeah, it's crazy. But you also you come from nothing.
Yeah.
Get chances. People paying me to tell jokes.
Yeah.
Mom was fucked up. Used to I got all these stories bothering me, all these different stepdaddy niggas that been around, all these relationships I thought I had, all what would we be if we weren't comics though? Where would this pain go? Where would this energy go? Because it's actually a superpower. and it can be used for fucking good or bad. And most of the time, when you see people being mean, super fucking mean, and we giggle about it, they make great comics. They tone down that superpower, but they out there being fucked up, and we don't know where we would put it.
Dope.
And I
But you know what's funny too? I always look at like people like when I'm searching, I was searching for things and spirituality and things like that, and you kind of look at them like you kind of not, but you like under them a little bit, and then like at one point you become like almost equal because you're hearing and seeing things and manifesting things. You get it now, like, oh, I get it. That's how that goes. And that's what's funny. That's what goes back to this moment in therapy, and I was kind of talking about it where I said I sat there, I closed my eyes, and I talked to 12-year-old me, and all I said was, "You did that." Imagine telling yourself that shit, yo. Like the shit you kind of saw for yourself and didn't know if it could happen. It's like, hey, man,
You did it.
you did it.
Right.
You're dope.
Yeah.
You're the cool kid now. I don't know. And therapy does that. It gives you a chance not only to heal, but also learning to like salute yourself. Like sometimes we try to go through life, we have all these goals, but we don't take time to like be like, hey, I'm proud of me.
Yeah. Appreciate yourself in a moment.
Man.
And you're steady going for something else.
Steady
Like, I gotta get
and
this. I gotta get this.
You
I
can
gotta get
still
this.
have this ambitious mentality, but celebrate those W's because them shits wasn't easy.
Yeah. Live in it.
Live in it.
So yeah, I'm going to therapy. April, give me the number. I appreciate you. This was great. This was honest.
This was honest.
I felt more vulnerable as well, so I'm gonna become a better man. I'm going to therapy. Thanks, bro. Thank you.
You know what's funny? I mean, I believe you.
I'm going, man. I'm going.
This was too deep for me. Like, this nigga ain't going. This nigga about to go.
In closing, I'm going to therapy.
Go out to the Grove. Shit.
Go talk to the lady.
Go talk to the lady.
I'm going to hike. That's one of my ways of like getting away from everything. Like I literally go hike. I try to go at least twice a week. I'm in down.
Good for you, brother.
Yeah.
But see that lady. You hear what I'm saying to you?
I gotta go see that lady for sure.
Oh, yeah, I'll go see that lady. Okay?
Man.
Go see the lady.
Do you have any favorite artists to work with?
Favorite artist, man, gotta be Chris Brown, man.
Okay.
Gotta be Chris. You know, we can make the craziest music, you know, and he's gonna make the video even crazier. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna make the artwork even crazier, you know? So it's always dope to see someone that's just creative, you know, and they let the creativity lead.
And you were on the project where you got the first Grammy as well, right?
Yeah. So that was Fame album. Yep. I did like 3 songs on that album, and that was the first time we worked together. So since then, oh man, you know, it's just been.
So you on the latest one as well?
Album. Yeah, latest album.
Okay.
Breezy. I co-wrote 5 songs on that one.
Is that hard to do though? Like when you know, you're an artist also, right? And so do you battle yourself like, damn, I can't get this to him. I gotta keep this to myself.
You know, in the earlier stages of me being a songwriter / artist, yes, it was the toughest thing to ever. Like, no, this is my baby, you know. I'll give him this one, you know. But once I realized I'm the source, and once I believed it with my heart, it was like, no, give your best. Give your absolute best, because that'll make room and more opportunities for you. And if you could repeat it, you're supposed to be here. And if you're not, I mean, if you can't, you know, you're not supposed to be here.
You always want to put your best foot forward in everything you do, so and you're doing that.
Keepin It Rel.
That was a Headgum podcast.